Hello, everyone. It is Monday night, and you know what that means. That means it is time for the Sunday Night League. That's right, we are back, and not only are we back with another race, we are here with a season finale for you. We are here with a lot of excitement coming into this race. We are at Mount Fuji, as you can see in the background there. Center screen there is, of course, Mount Fuji. And you can see the grid in the bottom left there. We'll go through that grid in a couple moments' time. But first, I need to pull up my information so that I can tell you things such as what tires people started on. But first and foremost, we are here, as I said, for a championship finale. I will go through the standings and the people still in with a chance at the championship in a moment. We'll go through the grid first, though. We are here at Mount Fuji, Fuji Speedway, as it is officially known. We are doing the Grand Prix circuit. We are not using the shortcut version, so we do have turn 10, 11, 12 as a chicane, that sort of triple chicane type bit. It's a little bit tight, it's a little bit clumsy, or it can be clumsy, but these cars are very nimble, so it should be manageable for these drivers. This is, of course, a 16-turn circuit. It has played host to very iconic championship battles before. Of course, the famous 1976 Formula One championship finale was here between Niki Lauda and James Hunt, immortalized by was it 2012 or 2013 movie Rush? That is my personal favorite movie. But enough about the track, more about the grid. Let's get into it. On pole position is Tamo. Tamo qualified on a set of the softs. He is one of 3 drivers who still had softs left going into this race for qualifying. Of course, all drivers only have 3 sets of tires left before this race and 1 qualifying, each driver has 3 race tires remaining before this race and 1 qualifying tire. So this tires they're using here is entirely set up by what they used earlier in the season. Now this is Tamo's first time on pole this season. He's been on the front row before, as he took 2nd place at round 1 and got himself the win on that occasion. So with having qualified 1 better, we'll see if he can finish in first once again. Next up on the grid, we have Gasman. Gasman has gotten the most pole positions this season, and a lot of them just generally. But Gasman qualified on a set of the mediums. We will be looking to see if he can get his first win of the season. Wendigo, also going for his first win of the season, qualified on a set of mediums that puts him 3rd on the grid. And of course, you'll notice sometimes I seem to forget for a moment just exactly where on the grid we are, but of course, thankfully, there's numbers in front of the grid boxes this time, so I'm not likely to get lost in terms of position. Usually happens around the 8th, 9th, 10th place kind of mark. But 4th place on this occasion is Ben for Toro Rosso, qualified on a set of the mediums, much better than last week when he qualified last. Aloe, going from 5th on the grid, Aloe qualified on a set of the softs. So he's the 2nd of 3 to do that. We've got 3 drivers today that qualified on the softs and 3 that qualified on the hards. We'll get to who those were in a moment. But Ajax is 6th on the grid, also going for his first win of the season. Ajax has qualified on a set of the medium compound tires. We've actually got a lot of really top drivers going for their first wins of the season. Gasman in second, Wendigo in third, Aloe in fourth. Hasn't gotten a win in Formula X ever, but he's been near the front a number of times. So it'd be interesting to see if he can get his first win as well. He'll be going for his first win not just of the season, but of his Formula X career. And Ajax is also going for his first win of the season, but there's only one race left, which means between Gasman and Ajax, a minimum of one previous champion of Formula X is going to be left without a win this season, and possibly both of them, depending on who can take it. Will it be one of them or somebody else? 7th on the grid, Kaiser for Matra. Kaiser qualified on a set of the softs. He puts himself 7th, and I think that will be a happy result for the number 3 Matra here. That's the third of your soft compound qualifiers. Next up is Ragemus, the first of the 2 Lotuses. Ragemus qualified on a set of the medium compound tires. 9th place goes to Rob on drums, the American driver in the American team, not at an American track this week though. Rob on drums qualified on a set of... Where is Rob? There's Rob. Rob qualified on a set of the mediums. 10th place. Wow, the camera moved quickly there. 10th place is Punisher for McLaren. The second of the 2 McLarens, Punisher qualified on a set of the mediums. Next up is Bunnies. Bunnies qualified on a set of the hards, our highest qualifying hard runner. Bunnies, of course, goes into this championship finale in second in the championship. Himself and Wendigo are the main championship protagonists. Bunnies qualified on a set of the hards. Tiny Terror qualified 12th. He's back with Williams for the second week in a row. Tiny Terror qualified on a set of the mediums himself. Number 59 goes 12th. 13th, Bondimus. Bondimus qualified on a set of the hards. So our second hard compound qualifier goes 13th in the form of Bondimus. 14th goes to Clemicision. Clemicision qualified on a set of the hards as well. So there you have it. 3 hard compound qualifiers almost in a row, just with Tiny Terror splitting them up. It's 14th on the grid for number 23. Clemicision, winner last time out in Daytona, took his first ever SNL win. That makes it 3 of our recent newcomers of Lithuanians having already won races. And next up is Lynchimus. Lynchimus Prime qualified on a set of the mediums. We have 3 primes on this grid. Lynchimus is the third of them. He is qualified last, but not least, as unfortunately we do have an empty 16th place grid slot. Mr. Smith, unfortunately for Matra, unable to join us. He would have been qualifying on a set of the medium tires, but unable to make the race today, unfortunately. And despite the fact that for some reason there's 17th, 18th, 19th, etc. grid spots on this grid, GT7 is a game that only allows up to 16 people in a lobby, so those have no use. So, 1 empty spot, 15 drivers, all vying for the win. A number of top drivers still looking for their first win of the season, a few in a championship battle. Let's take a look at the race tires. So an abundance of softs in this round. I say that despite the fact that the first person I'm going to mention has no softs available to him. It's Bunnies and Slenderfella for Williams. Bunnies is medium, medium, hard. Slenderfella, however, apologies, not Slenderfella. I got so used to him being Bunny's teammate throughout the season. Tiny Terror, who has of course assumed Slenderfella's tires, has a soft medium medium available to him. Ajax and Aloe are both very soft for Ferrari. Ajax is triple soft, Aloe is soft, soft, medium. McLaren's going the same strategy as each other. Gasman and Punisher both go soft, soft, medium. Ben for Toro Rosso will be soft, medium, hard. Lynchimus, soft, medium, medium. Bondimus and Ragemus, the two primes driving for Lotus. Bondimus will be medium, hard, hard. Ragemus will be soft, medium, hard. Rob is the same as Ragemus, also going soft, medium, hard. Wendigo is by far the hardest driver on this grid. He has triple hards available to him. Glimecision is soft, medium, hard, while Tamo, the opposite of Wendigo, is triple softs, so that makes Tamo and Ajax very, very dangerous a very dangerous duo for this race, going triple softs themselves. Kaiser and Mr. Smith for Matra are both soft, soft, medium. Of course, Mr. Smith will not be racing with us today, but Kaiser will, going from 7th on the grid, of course. Soft, soft, medium should be very interesting to see how the Matra driver fares, especially after a very good round last time out. And the standings. I keep alluding to the championship battle that we have in store for us today. Let's finally talk about it. Wendigo leads the championship on 152 points. 5 points back is Bunnies, so those two are not separated by very much. If Bunnies can win this race, he guarantees himself the championship. If Wendigo beats Bunnies, he guarantees himself the championship. And generally speaking, if he finishes the position behind Bunnies, he also guarantees himself the championship, unless Bunnies finishes first, in which case even second place would not be enough for Wendigo, who would lose on countback. Bunnies, however, if Bunnies is lower than second, he would need Wendigo to, generally speaking, be 2 or more positions behind him. And as you get further down the grid, he would need him to be more and more positions behind him. Regardless, Bunnies is only 5 points behind Wendigo on 147 points. It's 123 points for Ajax. Because we do not have a 16th place driver, that means that the only way for Ajax to win this championship is if Wendigo rage quits this race, and if Bunnies seriously messes up. Wendigo, of course, would be given last place points if there were a disconnect, but if he chooses to leave the race, he would get 0 points. And Ajax would, of course, need to win the race on top of that. As he is sitting 29 points behind Wendigo, and last place would, with Mr. Smith missing, last place would award Wendigo 2 points, which is all he needs to beat Ajax in the championship. So realistically, because it seems unlikely, albeit not impossible, but unlikely that Wendigo would rage quit this race for any reason, given there's a championship on the line. For all intents and purposes, Ajax is eliminated from championship contention. Similarly, Ben is 1 point behind Ajax, sitting on 122 points, which means he's exactly 30 points behind Wendigo. Mathematically, that means he's still in it, but it would also require Ben to win the race and Wendigo to rage quit. And he would need that regardless of Wendigo finishing, or regardless of Mr. Smith being here or not, as all Wendigo needs to do to eliminate Ben is score 1 point. So moving on to those who are mathematically out of the championship contention, not just realistically, Gasman and Bondimus both have, or no, apologies, I've misread that. Gasman is 109 points, 13 back from Ben. A further 13 back from him is Bondimus on 96 points. It's 12 points then back to Tamo, and I want to point out that Bondimus did miss round 1 and 2, and has really brought himself up into the top of the championship table. I think if he had been there for the first 2 rounds, there's a strong argument to be made that he could have been in with a shot at this championship. It's not guaranteed, but I do think that he would have been right up there with the top guys: Wendigo, Bunnies, Ajax, Ben. But unfortunately, he did miss the first 2 rounds of the championship. So, as I was saying, Tamo sits on 84 points. 2 points back is Aloe in 8th. 16 points back on 66 points is Rob on Drums in 9th for Cadillac. Slender Fella, who of course is not able to race today, is on 62 points for Williams. Punisher is on 51 points. Clemicision is on 47 points. It's 28 for Lynchmas, and Kaiser sits on 17 in 14th place. Alpha Capri is on 13 points, as is Ragemus Prime in 15th and 16th. Super Toxic in 17th has 9 points. Jam has 5 points in 18th. Tiny Terror has 4 points following his debut of the season. Last time out, he has 4 points, sitting in 19th place, and Mr. Smith sits on 3 points for Matra. So that is the drivers' standings for you. Next, the constructors' standings. I know we have a race to get on with, but we have a lot of championship battles going on. Williams leads the Constructors' Championship by a... Whoops, why are we going downwards? Williams leads the championship by 1 point on 219 points. Cadillac sits on 218 points, only 1 point behind. Ferrari sits on 205 points. They are only 14 points off of Williams, so all 3 of those teams very much in championship contention. However, the first of our teams not in championship contention is, of course, Toro Rosso. Toro Rosso sits 56 points off of Williams, I believe, which puts them mathematically 1 point out of championship contention, I think. Either way, Toro Rosso sits on 163 points. Only 3 points back is McLaren. So yes, we have a big fight for first place in the Constructors' Championship, but Toro Rosso and McLaren are separated also by only 3 points. So we have a very interesting fight for fourth in the championship as well. Audi sits in 6th on 136 points, Lotus in 7th on 123 points, and Matra, who of course have only done 2 rounds, sit on 20 points themselves. So there you go. That is the standings. It took a while. Now that there are 20 whole drivers listed in the standings, we have a 16-corner track that has a chance for rain 36 laps in front of us. This is going to be a Japanese showdown for the ages. Bunnies and Wendigo, your main championship protagonists, one of them running medium, hard, the other running triple hards. However, the one on harder tires qualified 3rd, the one on softer tires qualified 11th. This is going to be a showdown for the ages. We have Lynchmas, Clemicision, Bondimus, Tiny Terror, Bunnies, Punisher, Rob on Drums, Ragemus, Kaiser, Aloe, Ajax, Aloe, Ben, Wendigo, Gasman, and of course, Tamo, our pole sitter. 15 drivers going for victory in our season finale, 2 of them going for the championship. Who can take it here in Fuji? The mountain looms over the track. Whoa, we just went through that. The mountain looms over the track. The cars will be running around it at very high speeds. Let's get this race on with. 36 laps ahead of us, 15 drivers. Let's see how it goes. 3, 4, 5 red lights. Lights are out and we are racing here in Fuji. It is a great getaway for Tamo, who is streaking into the lead already. He is well ahead of Gasman. No challenge there, as Ben seems to have outbraked himself. Ben is off by a mile. Ben hits the wall. What happened to Ben? Ben is on the inside and maybe contact with Ajax, but he goes deep and he is well off the track. We'll go back and watch that properly in a moment as there's contact behind. It's Rob on drums and Bondimus nearly looping it, but both of them continue on their ways. It is chaos throughout the field, and let's go back now quickly and take a look at what on earth happened to Ben. I tell you what, we'll go on board with Ajax, see if there is any contact. It doesn't look like there is. I think Ben just outbrakes himself, and he is into the wall on the outside of turn 1 here on lap 1. That is disaster for him, but it is going to be Tamo who leads the way through turn 3 now, through 100R, which is of course turns 4 and 5. A bit wide goes Ragemus, but he makes it through the corner all right, and we have so many drivers side by side here. Kaiser and Tiny Terror on the outside there. Tiny Terror off the track, actually, dropping a number of positions, and Bondimus is going to have an opportunity to go around the outside of him as we enter this tricky hairpin chicane type section for the first time, going through Sector 3 now, turn 13, and of course turn 14. This is Net's corner that they're coming up to now. Tamo leading the way from Ajax, from Gasman, who runs a little bit wide through there. Ragemus sitting nicely in 4th. Bunnies is all the way up to 5th. That is huge for him. But Wendigo sits in 6th, which is good enough for the championship for him. That being said, it's lap 1 of 36. There is lots of time for that to change. There's the mountain in the background. Aloe hunting down Wendigo. It's Lynchimus in 8th. What a start for him, as Bondimus is going to go to his inside. We run down the pit straight for the first time now properly. The cars really get to stretch their legs here. Maybe some contact there, but Punisher alongside Bondimus looks to the inside. Can he get an opportunity? Rob on drums is off track down the straight. There's Kaiser on the inside. There's Tiny Terror on the inside as well. Bondimus is a bit wide. He's going to lose a couple positions out of that. Oh, as Kaiser went way off. What happened to Kaiser? We'll sit on board with him. We go down the straight. There's Tiny Terror behind us. There's the chaos in front. Kaiser goes to the inside, breaks a bit late. Oh, he's made contact with Bondimus there. Thankfully, I think Bondimus gets away mostly scot-free from that. Oh, he actually does have front damage to his front right tire, so that is not going to be helping him as he tries to navigate turn 3 here, the Coca-Cola corner, through 100R on the outside of Rob on drums. Surely not. No, he thinks better of it and tries to stick behind for the corner known as Hairpin. Such a creative name. Thank you to the people who designed this track and named the corners for that one. Ooh, as I thought I heard contact for a split second there. Maybe not. Wendigo is dropped behind Aloe now, so Aloe sits in 6th. Bunny's in 5th. Wendigo in 7th. Punisher is in 8th. Tiny Terror just trying to struggle his way through this snake-like section now, through Net's corner, as he enters up towards Panasonic corner, the corner Wendigo is navigating now. There's Punisher behind him. Punisher is going to be looking to get into his slipstream. Punisher's going everyone is going much more aggressive on tires than Wendigo here. Not that Wendigo had much of a choice. Here is Bunnies on the back of Ragemus. He's going to look to the inside at turn 1, thinks better of it, or perhaps Ragemus just braked late enough to defend. These two will continue their battle. Further back, we will see, is there anything chaotic going on still? Bondimus to the inside of Lynchimus. Bondimus is on hards at the moment, so this won't be easy for him to navigate. There's Kaiser. Ben has thankfully brought himself right back into this conversation. And Clinicision is on the back of this group. He is running hard compound tires right now, so not an easy start to this one for him. There's Ajax and Gasman side by side. Gasman on the outside. Is he going to be able to make a move into Dunlop corner? He is unable to make that move. And the number 12 of Ajax stays ahead. These two former champions battling out for second place. There's Ragemus ahead of Bunnies. Another former champion, reigning champion in fact, but he is not in championship winning position. Or, well, actually, I don't know if he is. I should be checking that. I mean, going into this round, though, he is not in the lead of the championship as he's trying to pressure Ragemus. Can he get a switchback here? Not quite yet. He is not in championship winning position as it stands. Wendigo in 7th would be doing enough to keep the victory of the championship here alive. But here goes Bunnies to the outside of Ragemus. He wants this move. If he can get this done, he will be up into 4th place, and he can try to hunt down the top 3. He's going to go round the outside of turn 1. He's stuck on the outside for turn 2, and Ragemus edges ahead of him here. Wendigo in 7th. Punisher has dropped back a little bit in 8th. Here is a number of cars very close together. Tiny Terror has dropped a few positions now. Kaiser behind Bondimus, who is putting pressure on Rob on drums. On the outside goes Bondimus through 100R. Surely not. He can't quite pull it off, but Rob on drums goes wide. Oh, there's contact with Kaiser. I think Rob on drums losing control of the car there. And Tiny Terror is going to get his way through, thread the needle, so to speak. He's on the outside of Bondimus. He switches to the inside. The Williams driver thinks better of it. Tucks back into the slipstream. But it's a better... Oh, Tiny Terror smacks into the side of Bondimus there through the exit of Dunlop Corner. And Bondimus will maintain 9th position. Here's Tiny Terror in 10th. Kaiser in 11th. Has there been a move here yet? Bunnies is ahead of Ragemus now. So Bunnies has pulled it off. He's ahead of the Lotus driver now, both of them on mediums. Bunnies is going to try and pull away. Aloe, however, is on soft compound tires. That could be dangerous for the duo ahead. Tamo, of course, is on soft compound tires, as is Ajax, both of them running triple softs in this race and already making hay. And, of course, Gasman running medium, soft? No, soft, medium. Yes, soft, medium is Gasman. He is running one of his 2 sets of softs as he sits behind Ajax. And I think a theme you'll see throughout this race, generally speaking, is drivers using their softer tires first and then their harder tires due to the risk of rain. Because it can rain at this circuit. It has been known to do that before. Generally, if it's rained here in SNL, I don't believe it's been enough to actually constitute a change to intermediates, although last time we did see drivers such as Specmere make the mistake of going to intermediates despite it not getting heavy enough to switch to inters. But the point remains that it can rain here on the edge of the Mount Fuji. Oh, here comes Aloe. He was looking for a move on Ragemus. Ragemus runs wide. Aloe might have an opportunity here in the Ferrari. We go on board with him to the inside. He uses up the overtake, and he's through very easily. Ragemus will pull into the slipstream, though. And can he perhaps make a move back through on Aloe? To the inside. Goes into the corner, side by side. Can he outbrake him? He hits the apex. A very tight apex when you're side by side. And Aloe is not conceding this position. Through towards Coca-Cola corner. He makes the move down the inside. He maintains the position. Wendigo is in 7th, Punisher in 8th. It's side by side for Tiny Terror and Kaiser. Kaiser at Coca-Cola corner. That's turn 3. Flings it to the left, now to the right through 100R. Bondimus could be lining up a move here before you know it. Kaiser on the outside runs deep, and Bondimus slides through into Tiny Terror's slipstream. And as we go on board with him, thought he was a little bit closer, but I don't think he'll be going... Oh, he does go for a move! My God, what a dive! And he's pulled it off, no less. Wow! But here comes Kaiser. Kaiser has gotten through. He sees the snap of oversteer for Bondimus, and he slips through himself. That was quick thinking from Kaiser. That was really brilliant from him as Bondimus makes one move and loses. Makes up one position, loses another. Stays in 10th. Tiny Terror is the big loser there as he goes down 2 positions. Ben, under pressure from Rob. Can Rob's medium tires pull him ahead of Ben? Ben, it looks like, is using the slipstream and the overtake to his advantage. He wants to catch up to Tiny Terror while he still can. These hard tires are not easy for him, but he is a top driver, and he seems to enjoy using the hards at the beginning of races, and he seems to be getting pretty good at it, too. Oh, that looks like Plymouth just forced himself up the inside of Rob. What a move there. Let's take a look at it. You can see it in the mirrors of Ben. But we'll watch now. It's just a slick little move. A bit of contact with Ben, actually. But Plymouth makes it through nicely ahead of Rob on drums now. Lynchmus falling behind a little bit, struggling for pace at this stage in the race on those mediums. Camo. Last lap was a new fastest lap of the race. It was a 22.8 on these soft compound tires. Ajax, 22.9 last lap, so only dropped about a tenth on that occasion. And Gasman, a 23.9 as well. So Gasman, nope, hang on, Gasman dropped a whole second. I was gonna say he didn't drop anything. He dropped an entire second. That is a lot more than nothing. Bunny sits now quite comfortably in fourth. Aloe, we'll see about how far behind he is. Around about 2 or 3 seconds behind Bunnies as it stands, so not within striking distance, although still close enough that Bunnies needs to be conscious of not making any big mistakes. But still, over 2 seconds to the driver behind, and much more to the driver in front. Bunnies is getting into a bit of a no man's land here. Aloe still under pressure from Ragemus Prime, though, a 24.2 last lap for Ragemus compared to a 23.8. So he dropped 4 tenths to Aloe last lap. So Aloe, his soft compound tires are proving very useful at this stage in the race. Wendigo sits in 7th. As it stands, we are of course only 8 laps into this race, but as it stands, if Bunnies finishes in 4th, he would get 18 points. Wendigo, finishing 7th, would get him 12 points. That is a 6-point difference. That would be enough for Bunnies to win the championship. Of course, bear in mind, Bunnies needs to outscore Wendigo by 5 points, because he would win the championship on countback. So Bunnies, really, he needs 5 points. He's got a gap of 6, but if Wendigo gains 1 position, or Bunnies loses 1 position, that would take him out of championship winning position. So the reigning champion and the man who lost to him in GTE by about half a second, he had a championship showdown in the final round between these two in GTE as well. And it came down to the last lap of the last race as Wendigo pressured Bunnies, but Bunnies took the victory in his Speed Racer Ferrari ahead of Wendigo's Arc Raiders Ferrari. And that gave Bunnies his first GTE championship. Wendigo lost that by about half a second was the gap at the end of the race. Wendigo has made a habit of P2s here. He's still not won a Formula X race. And frankly, it's not looking like that's about to change today, as he sits in 7th on triple hards compared to, say, Ajax and Tamo, 1st and 2nd on triple softs. But Wendigo has come very close to a championship before. He's become something of a Mr. P2, but he sits 1st in the championship right now. Bunnies is in position to take that away from him, put him P2 again. Wendigo will be doing anything he can to change that. He will be hunting down Ragemus. He'll already be trying to analyze how Ragemus is driving, where his mistakes are being made, so that if he can just catch up to him, just for a moment, he can make a move. Wendigo will not let this go easily. This is one of the fastest drivers we have ever seen in SNL. This is a top-tier driver, and even on triple hards, he sits as high as 7th position. Ragemus runs deep through turn 1. Aloe ahead continues to march away from him, and Aloe, it looks like his gap to Bunnies isn't changing too much, though I reckon Bunnies is probably pulling away by a little bit. Gasman, however, Gasman does look like he's losing just a little bit of time to Bunnies. Not a huge amount, but a little bit of time. So Bunnies begins to march towards the softer drivers ahead of him. as their tires wear out, and Gasman is really a victim of the tire wear. I mean, take a look at Tamo's front left. It's not looking great. Ajax is managing his front left very, very well. And then there's Gasman. Gasman is killing his front left. There is no way around it. That front left is dying. Bunnies, however, is on mediums, so his tires all look absolutely fine. There are no tire concerns here for Bunnies. He is running nicely in 4th as we exit lap 10 and enter lap 11. Aloe, Ragemus, and Wendigo here. Punisher sits in 8th, Kaiser in 9th, Tiny Terror in 10th, still under pressure from Ben, who has a chain of Rob and Bondimus behind him. Ben runs quite a bit wide there, but rejoins the track quickly. Rob on drums and Bondimus there. Precision has taken his first pit stop of the race. He's pitted off of hards and put a set of the mediums on. As here comes Bondimus on Rob on drums to the inside. He makes that move with ease. Precision has dealt with his hards. He's put on a set of the mediums, so when he finally pits next, he will be put on the softs. But Rob on drums has fought back and actually gotten back ahead of Bondimus. I chose a really bad time to look away at the tires. Well done to Rob for defending that position, though. That looked very nice. Kaiser is killing his front left. I think all the soft drivers are killing their front lefts, but you know who's not worried about his tires? It's Wendigo. Hard tires just don't really wear out. They just don't. I mean, they do, but it's such a slight thing that it's really not a big deal for the drivers who use hards, unless they're trying to go the entire race on that compound, which isn't legal anyways, so they're not. It's also just not optimal. And, you know, the drivers in this league are generally quite intelligent people, and we've got some phenomenal strategists on this grid. I've said it a few times this season, I stand by the fact that Rob on drums is the best strategist in SNL. Always has been, likely always will be. Here's Bondimus into the pits, though. That is interesting. So he's pitting off the hard compound tires at the end of lap 11. Here's Precision. We'll see where he comes out in comparison to Bondimus. See if the undercut works at all. It does. Bondimus still refueling while Precision hits turn 1 now. So Precision managing that nicely. Here's Lynchmus. Even Lynchmus gets Bondimus, so Bondimus drops to last place as he exits the pits. There we go. So Tamo is into the pits now. Race leader enters the pits off of softs. So does Gasman. Gasman is another one who I have to say I've been very impressed with in recent times. I think he's sort of stepping up as one of the top strategists in SNL as well. Ragemus into the pits off of mediums. We have Ajax and his brother, Bunnies, continuing on their way. Aloe in 3rd. 4th is Wendigo, so those two also continue. So does Punisher. Tamo exits the pits. He's in 6th place. Here's Kaiser, unable to take the position away from him. So Tamo comes out of the pits in 6th. Kaiser still needs to pit. He is in 7th. Gasman in 8th on softs. Ooh, Ben is there as Rob on drums. Looks like he made a move on Tiny Terror there. So these two are battling it out late in this race. Precision there in 13th. Ragemus in 12th. We'll go back to these two though. I'd like to see how Tiny Terror and Rob manage this race. I feel like these two have battled a number of times throughout their SNL careers, although admittedly the only particular time I can think of was the prologue to the Season 5 GTE season, when we swapped to Group 4s. I seem to remember them battling in Nürburgring. Possibly that one ended in tears though, as Rob thought was going to throw one up the inside of Ben there. These three all need to pit, and it looks like Ben is really struggling on these hards, as Rob, on his inside, is going to switch to the inside again. No, he goes to the outside of Panasonic corner. Ajax and his brother are both in the pits. So is Aloe, as Wendigo continues on and usurps the lead for the time being. Two of these three drivers go into the pits. Oh no, Rob pulls out of the pits. He chooses not to pit in the end. That is an interesting choice. I thought for sure he was pitting, and here comes Bunnies out of the pits directly in front of a Cadillac and his teammate. So this is a constructors battle if I've ever seen one, because it's the two teams separated by 1 point at the top of the standing, battling it out. Bunnies ahead of Rob, ahead of Tiny Terror. Tiny Terror and Rob still need to pit. Bunnies just came out of the pits. He's on another set of the mediums. And he's continuing on his way. The clouds are staying away, but Rob on drums is not. He dives to the inside of Bunnies. Can he pull off the move through Dunlop corner? Onto the grass a little bit goes Bunnies. Can he hold on to the position? No, he can't. He's going to have to sit behind Rob now. So Rob pulls off a move on his warm mediums, while Bunnies is struggling to heat up his own. Bunnies is going to continue. No, Rob! Rob has saved it. My god, how did he save that? I thought for sure he was in the wall there. Ciao Alex says his helmet. Rest in peace to Alex Zanardi, of course, who passed away, unfortunately, earlier this weekend. Oh, it's a big snap of oversteer, but saving it is Rob on drums. And he drops behind the two Williams drivers. Bunnies goes to the right. Tiny Terror gets the slipstream. Bunnies pulls back out to the left, and Tiny Terror into the pits. Rob does not follow him in. So Rob will continue on his way, and I think Rob, perhaps... I mean, I'm sure Rob was doing it for his own race, don't get me wrong, but I wonder if he was going for that move on Bunnies in the hopes that he could slow him down just a little bit and help out his teammate in an attempt to win the championship for Wendigo. Wendigo is not faced with an easy battle here. Yes, he enters with the championship lead, but on the harder tires, on the hardest tires possible, in fact, Wendigo is not faced with an easy race here to try and reclaim, or not reclaim, but retain his championship lead. I mean, Wendigo and Bunnies have swapped the lead of the championship pretty much every round this season. It's been a bit absurd, the amount of position swapping they've done in the championship, mostly between first and second, although of course Camo led the championship after round 1, when he won in Trial Mountain. Oh, how long ago that feels like it was. Well, actually, to be fair, it was like 10 weeks ago or something. It was actually quite a while ago now I think about it. But he was earlier this season, nonetheless. So Tamo leads the way in first. He's triple softs, of course, so he's on another set of the softs, as is Ajax. Gazman puts on a second set of the softs. That means his final stint will be on mediums. The rain seems to be staying away. It's a very, well, it's not cloudless, but it's not ominous clouds, that's for sure. It's a pretty bright blue sky, so we're looking at probably a clear rest of the race. As Gazman sits in third, of course it can rain here, is why I mention the clouds, but it doesn't look currently like it's going to. Bunnies is, I think the undercut for Gazman has worked really well here, because Gazman is quite close again to the back of Ajax, apologies, and Bunnies has dropped quite a ways off the back of Gazman. Aloe, on the other hand, hasn't dropped that far off the back of Bunnies. He's still there. He'll be looming in the mirrors, but he will not be... He doesn't look like he'll be challenging Bunnies anytime soon. I mean, Bunnies is going to cross the line. Well, we'll take a look, see if we can figure out more or less the gap. round about 5 seconds separate Bunnies and Aloe. And it is only a couple seconds between Aloe and Ragemus. So the Lotus driver may be looking to see if he can get an opportunity on Aloe here. Of course, as I mentioned prior, Bunnies is currently just about in championship winning position. He would have it by 1 point as it stands, I believe. He sits in 4th, and Wendigo sits in 7th. Wendigo will be losing sight of Ragemus at this point. He will only see him briefly in glimpses. And he will be desperately hoping for a mistake from from Bunnies, Aloe, or Ragemus. Just something to give him a position or lose Bunnies a position. Behind sits Punisher. He's trying to catch up to Wendigo. And I thought for just a moment that I saw the light on the back of Punisher flashing, which would have indicated rain, but, I mean, again, look at the skies. It's not raining. So, I think now would be a reasonable time to talk about the lights on top of the drivers' heads. If you've listened to my commentary of Formula X ever before, then you've definitely heard this. But Punisher, you can see, has a green light over his head here. That means that he has 25% or more of his overtake remaining. Now, of course, if you want to see exactly how much he's got, you can see in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen a little graphic there that shows how much of his overtake is left. But if you just want to look at the car, and this is also very useful for the drivers, who of course can't see other drivers' overtake left, if a driver sees that another driver has a green light above their head, that means they have 25% or less of their overtake left. Comparatively, if they have a red light above their head, like Bondimus does, that means they have 25% or less left. Green light means 25% or more. Red light means 25% or less, as I believe that was Lynchbus getting out of Bondimus's way. A lapped car, of course. And Climicision, on the other hand, has no light above his head. That light is out. That means he has 0% of his overtake left. He is out. Done. Nothing left. Which, of course, puts him at a disadvantage if he's in a battle. That's the big thing, is you can if you can find what the light above another driver's head looks like, you can strategize on how to battle them. If Gasman catches up to Ajax, they have about the same amount of overtake left. But let's say by the time Gasman catches Ajax, Ajax has a red light on above his head. He has less than 25% left. If Gasman can catch a glimpse of that and see, okay, Ajax has 25% or left of his overtake, he can look at his own, and he knows that he's got a green light above his head. He knows he's got more overtake left, so he can afford to be a bit more aggressive with it. He can try to force Ajax to use up the rest of his overtake with some aggressive uses of his own. That being said, if you're in Ajax's position, it also creates an element of fear, is what I find. I think there's the uncertainty of it creates worry. Because if Ajax, let's say Ajax does go down below 25% left, he's got a red light above his head, he knows that. He looks backwards and sees the green light above Gasman's head. Well, Gasman could have anywhere between 26 and 100% left of his overtake. There's such a wide range of what the overtake could still be like on Gasman's car that Ajax is put in this position of uncertainty and perhaps even a bit of fear or worry. And I like to think that sort of contributes to the mental game of racing. I think racing is very interesting in its mental games and how it can affect things. But most of these drivers still sit with a green light above their head. Ragemus sits with a red one. Still green for Wendigo and Punisher. Climicision doesn't have a light above his head, of course. And I mean, that's above all else. If you look and you see no light above the driver's head, well, you know as long as you've got any overtake left, you've got a huge advantage on them. Because there's nothing they can do to defend. They can't even use it to, in one last spurt to try and stay ahead that one straight longer. They're screwed, man. Good luck, That's what they're left with. So it's Ragemus, who has dropped quite a ways off the back of the Lowy, actually. Those softs are looking a bit vile, actually. Lowy has managed the softs very nicely. I think he boxed at the end of lap 13. Big snap of oversteer there, but he does survive it, thankfully. Ragemus and also... So Ragemus's tires are only 1 lap older, but they are severely more beaten up. As the sky is starting to look a little bit more ominous. I know I said only about 5 laps ago it was looking like we'd have a clear race for the rest of the time, but that cloud, or that sky looks more gray than blue now. Perhaps something to keep our eyes on. Unfortunately, there is no way to check the weather radar while we are watching like this. As a driver, of course, you can check the weather radar at any given time, but no way to do it as a spectator, so we'll just have to wait and see do any rain lights come on or anything like that. Or, of course, one of the telltale signs is if somebody pits onto intermediates. Lynchimus is going to pit off of the mediums. This should be his second stop, if I'm not mistaken. Take a look to see what he pits onto. I think he should end up on a set of the softs. 16 laps on softs is bold, though. Let's see. Oh, he pits onto intermediates. So speak of the devil, then. Lynchimus is onto intermediates, and he immediately flies off the track, but intermediates are very difficult to manage on a dry track. But what that means is that presumably it is about to start raining. It is raining. You can see the light flashing on the back of these cars. We'll go into chase cam for just a moment. That red flashing light, that is the rain light. It is indeed raining here. And are we seeing any raindrops? We're seeing a couple of droplets on Ajax's car. They're a bit difficult to make out at this stage because there's so few of them. There's nothing in the in the wet, sort of the little gauge for wetness, which is in the bottom left corner of your screen to the left of the tires. If we see some blue on that, that means that this race will officially be declared as a wet race, as I'm just starting to see more and more rain coming down. I don't know how heavy this rain is going to be, but we've seen somebody already pitting onto intermediates. And you can hear the rain now. There is definitely rain, and we officially have a wet race. Look in the bottom left corner of your screen. You can see the moisture gauge going up there. It is raining, and Gasman is into the pits. Is this a scheduled pit stop, or is he putting on intermediate tires? Bunnies is going to continue on his way. That is bold to see. Well, although he's continuing on his way, maybe it's bold for Gasman to be pitting. What is he going to be putting on? Is it going to be intermediates for the McLaren driver? He's refueling a bit. Ragemus continues on his way as well. So does Wendigo. Could this be a scheduled pit stop for Gasman? I think he's going to refill the full. He wants to go to the end here, and you can do that. 13 laps on a set of tires, you can do that. He puts on a set of the intermediates. Yes, Gasman is onto the inters. So Gasman has pitted onto the intermediates. So Gasman, I mean, we've seen so many drivers. No other driver up in the top 10 or so. Well, Clemcision's in the pits, actually. So no other driver in the top 9 has pitted off of their tires and put on intermediates. Clemcision ran out of fuel there. He was about to, I should say. So I think he kind of had to. But Gasman is struggling on these intermediates as if the rain is still coming down. You can see it. But it's not heavy. We're not... Those two lines in the middle of the moisture gauge there. And yeah, the moisture's gone. It's fully dry on this track. Gasman is on intermediates on a fully dry track. And it was not going to rain enough to put on the intermediates. I think we have seen a big, big mistake from Gasman, who is doing one lap on the intermediates and is going to be suffering from here. My goodness, this is quite the turn of events for Gasman. He's taken himself out of a podium position, and look at that, he's already coming back into the pits. It's one lap on the intermediates and done with them, says Gasman. That was a big, big error from him. That is really, really unfortunate to see. It's Kaiser now pressuring Ben, though. Let's see some battling here in the aftermath of that very, very brief rain shower. Of course, it has been declared as a wet race. What that means is you still have to change your tires twice as Ben goes to the inside. What a move from him to get back past Kaiser immediately after being overtaken by him. Kaiser's going to look to the inside at Coca-Cola corner, but he's not able to make the move. Gasman comes out of the pits onto the mediums, and he's back at full fuel. He should be able to make the end of the race like this, no worries at all. So of course, when it is declared a wet race, the regulation is that you must use 3 different sets of tires. You must change your tires twice still, but you don't have to use all 3 of your dry compound tires. You just have, like, if you can do a soft stint and then it rains and you put on the intermediates and then it stops raining and you put on you've got 2 tires left. You can choose between them, and you don't have to run both of them. You just have to switch your tires twice. So no double stinting tires still. But as long as you are... if you use a set of the inters or the wets, you can do it. So Bunnies has usurped the lead, and the Lowy has taken second, as Tamo and Ajax are out of the pits, quite close together now. And Ajax is going to try and pressure Tamo here. Tamo, through hairpin, leads the way. These two have been a bit quiet. Ajax has been calmly putting pressure on Tamo all race long. He hasn't really been in striking distance until now. But he's been there. He's been putting pressure, and he's been seeing what he can do. And Punisher has now gained a load on Wendigo. And Punisher is going to be looking to see if he can get past Wendigo. We'll see. When does Bunnies pit? Bunnies continues on his way here. So Bunnies will go at least to the end of lap 26. Aloe continues as well. It's Tamo and Ajax in the net lead and net second place in this race. Tamo has more overtake left than Ajax. Ajax is sitting right around the 25% mark. He still has the green light, just barely. And if he wants to try and be deceptive, he may want to stop using overtake for a little bit here and wait until he's ready to really make that push past. He immediately disregards my statement and uses more overtake out of turn 2. But he goes purple in sector 1. Wendigo sits just ahead of Punisher. Both of them still need to pit one more time in this race. Ben continues on his way in 7th. 8th is Kaiser. 9th goes Gasman. It was a big error from him. Putting on intermediates, he's taken an extra pit stop in this race. He'll be beating himself up for that one. He's thrown away a podium here, more likely than not. We'll see what he can do to make up for it, though. He is a rapid driver. He's won here before. He took his only Formula X championship at this track, beating Matt Psycho and Bunnies to the championship on that day. Those two tried to push him right to the end, but he pulled it off. He took the championship, did Gasman. That was back in Season 8. Now in Season 12, he's not in championship contention in this round, but we know he's fast at Fuji, and we'll see what he can do. Bunnies continues on another lap. He's looking pretty low on fuel here, so I wonder if he'll be fuel saving just a little bit. He seems to be short shifting maybe, lifting off a bit, so I do think he's fuel saving to go that extra lap. But Tamo is in second. He'll usurp the lead very soon, I would imagine. Ajax putting pressure on him. Aloe's in the pits. He's refueling now. Wendigo in the pits as well. Changing his tires, refueling, and Aloe comes out of the pits. Still on the same set of soft compound tires, which is only the second compound that he's used. He still needs to change a set of the tires. Aloe still needs another pit stop, and that could be disastrous for him. We'll hope that it was a strategy choice of some sort, but I don't know. I think he may have just made a mistake or misinterpreted the rules, perhaps. We'll see. Either way, Aloe sits in 4th. He thinks his softs can go to the end here. We'll see if they can, but he does need to pit one more time. That is not a good position for him to be in. Ajax is going to pressure Tamo now. Ajax, of course, Aloe's teammate, and Ferrari is looking really, really good in the Constructors' Championship battle right now. Ajax in 2nd, Aloe is in 4th. This could definitely be the Constructors for them. Ajax still pressuring Tamo. Nothing he can do yet, but he's just sitting there. He's just trying to see what he can get done. He's going to try to put pressure on Tamo as much as he can. He has a red light above his head now. Tamo can look back. He can see that red light, and he knows he is a bit safer than he was a moment before, as he knows what's going on. He knows he's got more overtake left. That is a lapped car up ahead. It is Rob on Drums in 14th. Rob on Drums will continue on his way. Bondimus in 13th. It's been a rough round for him. Ben putting pressure on Kaiser. There's Tiny Terror into the pits. Ben is going to go into the pits in 2. No, he just tries to steal some slipstream, crossing over the white line on pit entry and coming back out of it. There's Kaiser. He's going to switch to the inside now. He runs a little bit deep, but he gets the car rotated. Can he hold that position? No, Ben's got the traction. What a bit of... That was fantastic from Ben. The traction he got out of there was absolutely phenomenal. That was really smooth from Ben. Climicision runs in 9th. 8th is Ragemus as it stands. He's not far off the back of Punisher. Both of these drivers sitting maybe 5 or so seconds off the back of Wendigo. Wendigo sits in 6th right now. Bunnies sits in 3rd. Let's take a look. Is that enough for Bunnies to win the championship? Or is Wendigo just about in a good enough position? That would be 22 points for Bunnies if he finishes 3rd. Wendigo in 6th would take 14 points. That would be an 8-point difference. As it stands, Bunnies would win the championship by 3 points. Matter of fact, Bunnies, if he finishes 2nd, could afford, just barely, he could afford to have Wendigo finish 5th place. He would get get 6 points over Wendigo in that case, which would give him victory in the championship by 1 point. So if Bunnies will just, all Bunnies can do at this point is do everything he can to make sure that Aloe on worn softs can't catch him on his hards. If Aloe does, that could be disastrous for Bunnies. But Bunnies, so long as he stays in 3rd, it doesn't even matter what Wendigo does. He will not... Well, I mean, it matters what Wendigo does. If Wendigo pulls himself into 4th position, that would be huge. But Wendigo in 6th, even if he got himself into 5th, would not win the championship as it stands. Bunnies looks a little bit more comfortable. We're going to enter lap 30 in just a moment's time. Oh, a little bit wide there for Tamo. These two are on edge. They are fighting it out. But Ajax goes to the inside of 100R. It's a little bit wide for Tamo again. Ooh, Ajax nearly spins it around, but he holds onto the car. It was late on the brakes. It was out on the grass, but he holds it together. Ajax will drop backwards a little bit from that, but he will continue to pressure Tamo. And there is a car behind. It is Rob on Drums, so that is a lapped car. They are not under pressure from Bunnies, who sits quite a distance behind, but is under a little bit of pressure from Aloe. Aloe, of course, still needs to pit, actually. If Aloe doesn't pit within this lap or next lap, I believe it is, then Aloe will be in big trouble, as Tamo and Ajax are pushing so hard. They are going wide, and they are struggling here to keep it on track, keep it going right, in the right direction. We saw at Hairpin, which is, again, such an original corner name. At Hairpin, Ajax nearly spun last time out through 100R. They were super, super close together. Super pressure, says Tamo. And there is no better way of putting it. That is exactly what it is. It is super pressure. That's what Ajax has an effect of on the driver in front. He's sitting in the slipstream through 100R, up towards hairpin. Ajax is in the slipstream. He's not in striking distance quite yet, but he wants to sit here. He wants to get an opportunity. Tamo is driving magnificently, though. These softs are working brilliantly from him. The pressure, it's not getting to him. He remains an unstoppable force. And here we are. Could Tamo take victory in both the first and last race of the season, or can Ajax continue his streak of winning a race every season? He looks to the inside. It's not going to be an opportunity there, not yet through Net's corner, but on the outside, around Panasonic corner. Maybe he can get a switchback even out of the final corner. On the end of lap 31, this is a close battle. This is for the lead. This is for bragging rights, and it means so much more to both these drivers because Tamo could take victory to start and end the season. Ajax, he wants his first win of the season. He is desperate for his first win of the season. On the outside, nothing quite doing just yet, but Tamo is still just in front of him. Tamo can't pull away at this stage. There is nothing he can do to get away from Ajax. Ajax unable to get the position. He hasn't even stuck his nose ahead of Tamo for even an instant yet. Tamo has controlled this race, but at the same time, that control is not a comfortable one, as Ajax puts more and more pressure on him. Tamo's driving beautifully. He's still leading, but Ajax, he will not fall further back. He refuses to fall further back through into Dunlop corner. That's turn 10, turn 11, and turn 12 up next. And just a fun little quirk, in case you were wondering about the weirdness of this circuit, as I've commented, for example, on the originality of the name hairpin for a corner. When you're doing the shortcut version of this track, many of the corners are actually just named T number, corresponding, of course, to which number they are on the track, except they don't change when you go to the shortcut track, which cuts out a corner. So the 12th corner when you do this track on the shortcut version is T13. But it's actually T13 for us as it is the 13th corner for us today, and Ajax to the first corner is on the outside. Nothing he's able to do there. Tamo's defense is astoundingly good here. On lap 33, he's only got 3.5 laps left to defend. Can he do this? Ajax has fastest lap of the race, but Tamo has led so much of the... Oh, Tamo's on the grass. Where is Tamo going? He's out wide. He keeps it together. He does not spin. What has happened here? He doesn't spin it. He holds it together, but that was sketchy. He runs out onto the grass, onto the curb. It's a big slide there, and he holds it together, and now he's gonna have to be the hunter. He goes from being the hunted to the hunter, and at this point, he's got less overtake left than Ajax does. Ajax is in prime position to win this race all of a sudden. It's one mistake from Tamo. The pressure finally pays off. Ajax into the lead of the race, but Tamo is not going to give this up. Tamo still wants that win, I guarantee you that. And Tamo is not going to give this up. The Audi driver would like to see the top step once again. He's won a race in GTE, he's won a race in Formula X, he wants to make it 2 in Formula X. Can he do it? Bunnies sits in third. Aloe should have pitted by now. Aloe will be taking a penalty. At this point, I can confirm Aloe will be taking a penalty, as even if he pitted right now, he would not fulfill the 5-lap requirement on his third set of tires. So Aloe will get slapped with a penalty at the end of this race, which would put, I'm not sure the gap between them, but about 20 seconds between Aloe and Wendigo. So depending on the size of the penalty, I think 30 seconds is, I think, the penalty, but I'm not entirely certain on that. I will be completely transparent with that. So I think Wendigo would jump up into 5th if, at this point, if Aloe gets the penalty as Punisher and Wendigo are battling Punisher. It's up into 6th. Punisher is ahead of Wendigo, and the Canadian driver on softs takes advantage of the hards on Wendigo, and he pulls off the move. He is through into 6th, and he is up ahead of Wendigo, and Wendigo's championship hopes slip away that little bit more. Even if Wendigo had been 5th, he wouldn't take the championship as it stands, but now he should finish a 6th with Aloi's impending, I think, penalty. I don't think it's disqualification, but it might be. I think it's just a penalty. Regardless, Punisher ahead. Wendigo sits in 7th. That's definitely not enough to get the championship. If Aloi does get a penalty, which I believe he should, then it would be 6th. Still wouldn't be enough. And even if Punisher gets overtaken by Wendigo and Aloi gets a penalty, it still won't be enough. He would finish 5th. Gasman has, ironically, despite having made contact and sort of swiped bunnies out of race contention in Tokyo Expressway, Gasman is now the man unintentionally protecting Bunny's championship hopes. There's nothing Bunnies can do at this point to get a position ahead. Look at Ajax. He looks comfortable ahead of Tamo. Tamo has used up his overtake. He's used up his tires. And now he is slipping away from the Ferrari driver ahead. Ajax looking for his first win in red. He'd be the second of the two brothers to do it. Tamo watching his hopes of a second win this season slip away through Panasonic Corner. He's not fully out of it. It's not unheard of for mistakes to happen on the last lap, even to Ajax. It's happened before, Le Mans Season 10, for example. But it seems unlikely that Ajax will be beat at this point. Tamo may have to settle for second. Bunnies, I would say he has to settle for third, but in third, he's got himself a very good chance at taking this championship. So we'll have to wait and see. It'll be Aloi in 4th, but again, probably a penalty coming his way, dropping him likely behind Wendigo. Gasman sits in 5th. Unbeknownst to him, a net 4th, most likely. Punisher in 6th, Wendigo in 7th. And I do just want to clarify, when there is like an incident, like crash, I prefer not to say, oh, I think this person's going to get a penalty, because it's not my place to decide that, or to say, oh, I think this is going to happen. I'm here to give you guys the ability to form your own opinions on this race, not to feed you my own. But there is a clear-cut regulation about the tires, so when it comes to a tire infraction or something along those lines, I am willing to pretty comfortably say, yeah, I think this guy's getting a penalty. But through the final corner, it's a different story for Ajax. Through Panasonic Corner, Mount Fuji looms in the background of a victory that is all Ajax's. It's a brilliant drive. Victorious in red is Ajax here in Japan. He wins in Fuji. Tamo will come home in second. It's Bunnies still navigating the last couple corners through Panasonic Corner. He should have this championship in the bag. You can see Aloi and Gasman there. We'll wait for Gasman to cross the line to call Bunnies a champion, but he's done everything he can. He's going to come across the line in position to be champion. He finishes 3rd. It's Aloi who's going to come home 4th, but with a likely tire penalty coming. Gasman is 5th, and that solidifies it. It's going to be Bunnies who takes the championship, even as Wendigo and Punisher are going to battle it to the line. Can Punisher get him? He's on the overtake. He's in the slipstream. Can he pull out just in time? It's Wendigo who just barely beats Punisher. Thousandths separating them, maybe at a stretch hundredths. It's going to be Ragemus who comes home in 8th. Poor decision behind in 9th. Ben will be 10th. Kaiser will be the last to cross the line, but he will be in 10th position, or 11th position, apologies. Kaiser comes home 11th. It's victory in red for Ajax. It's his first of the season, but it is a whopping 5th Formula X championship for Bunnies, who's going to take third, a podium for himself. He's gotten many thirds in his SNL career, and now he's gotten one more championship in his SNL career. That is his 7th championship in SNL, his 5th in Formula X. This has been the man to beat since season 6, really, and he has been beaten a couple of times. Ajax and Gasman have done it each once, but since season 6, it has been 5 championships for Bunnies and 2 for others combined. What a drive, though, from Ajax. Number 12 will take the race win. We'll take a look at the provisional standings. This is before even a potential tire penalty for Aloe. But the provisional standings for your 12th season of SNL Formula X, we'll have Bunnies on top, victorious once again over Wendigo. It's the 2nd championship in a row where he has just barely beat Wendigo in a championship showdown in the final round. I mean, if we go back to the GTE standings, it was 5 points behind the two of them in GTE. It's 3 this time. Wendigo gets 2 points closer this time, and next time, I fear, for Bunny's sake, I fear Wendigo might get the better of him. Wendigo has been an absolutely rapid driver since he joined, and I think we'll only see him continue to improve and continue to impress, already adding his name to the list of fastest drivers to ever grace SNL is Wendigo. It's going to be 2nd in the championship for Wendigo. 166 points for him, 3 points back from first, 5 podiums in his first ever Formula X season, which is very, very strong, of course, but it's just, I can't imagine it's quite what he wanted from this one. He comes home 6th in this race, 2nd in the championship. It'll be Ajax, who should come home 3rd in the championship. 153 points for him, 13 back from Wendigo. Ben will grab 4th in this championship. Wasn't an easy round for him, coming home 10th, but he takes 4th, 129 points to his name, 2 victories along the way, and a 2nd place. 5th will go to none other than Gasman. The season 8 champion finishes 5th in the race and 5th in the championship, 4 points back from Ben. But with a potential penalty looming for Lowy, I don't think that would actually be enough to put Gasman ahead of Ben, but he will jump a point or 2 closer, and I should say Wendigo looks like he will jump a point or 2 closer to Bunnies as well, potentially as little as 1 point back. Camo will finish the race in 2nd. It is, for him, a 2nd podium on the season. But 6th place in the championship, Bondimus. If I can find the Lotus driver, there he is. Bondimus comes home 7th in the championship, missed the first 2 rounds, rounds his season out on exactly 100 points. It's been a good season for him, especially considering his missed rounds. I think I stand by the fact if he were here from the start, I don't think he would have won the championship. He wasn't performing quite well enough in the 6 races that he did do to manage that, but I think he would have been right up there with those front runners for sure. Aloe. Aloe will actually be 0 points behind Bondimus before any tire penalties, but Aloe will likely drop a few positions back. Tamo saying in the chat, well, Ajax, well done, and indeed, well done to our winner today. What a drive from him. Both brothers victorious in their own ways today, won the race winner, won the champion. But Aloe finishes 0 points back from Bondimus, also on 100 points, but on countback, due to not having a win, will be 8th, of course, with probable tire penalties coming, he will drop further back, but with Rob being a whole 29 points behind in 9th, it seems likely Alohi will finish 8th in the championship nonetheless. That being said, Rob on drums, 9th place in the championship, 71 points provisionally. Punisher, who finished oh so close with Wendigo today, will finish 10th in the championship on 63 points. It'll be 1 point back for Slenderfella. Plimicision on 55 points will finish in 12th in the championship, 9th today. Lynchimus will be 13th. Lynchimus, I believe, did not complete this race, unfortunately. But Lynchimus finished 13th on 30 points. Kaiser will take home 14th place on 23 points. Ragemus will come home 15th place, also on 23 points. Yes, that is correct. Got confused by the graphic there for a moment. But yes, Ragemus will come home 15th, also on 23 points. Alpha Capri will be 16th on 13 points. Super Toxic, 17th on 9 points. Tiny Terror will come home 14th and last in this race, but 18th in the championship on 7 points. Jam will be 19th on 5 points. And Mr. Smith will be 20th on 3 points. So there you have it. That's our race for you today. That's our entire season, our championship. Ajax victorious in the final round. Well, let's go through the story of the season just real quickly. Tamo victorious in round 1 at Trial Mountain. It was Bunnies on top in Lago Maggiore in round 2. Ben in round 3 at Tokyo Expressway took a fantastic victory. It swung back Bunny's way in round 4 as he won in Dragon Trail. Round 5 went the way of Ben once again, in Montreal, of course. It was Bondimus in Brands Hatch who took round 6 victory. Round 7, a first-time winner, not just in Formula X, but in SNL, it was Climicision. And round 8, that goes the way of Ajax, the Ferrari driver. First of the season for him. Constructors' Championships, however, that is an interesting one to look at. Ferrari should lead the way on 253 points. They should take the Constructors' Championship, but bear in mind the penalty potentially coming for Alohi. I don't think that will be enough to drop them behind Williams. I think they'll win it anyways. But, provisionally, before any penalties are applied, Ferrari certainly wins the championship, 9 points ahead of Williams, who sit on 244 points. It's a further 7 points back to Cadillac in third on 237 points. McLaren sit fourth, 188 points for them. They beat Toro Rosso to fourth. That was a very close battle going into this race, but McLaren opened it up to a 16-point gap as Toro Rosso come home fifth on 172 points. Audi on 169 points, 3 points back from Toro Rosso in sixth. And Lotus come home seventh, 137 points for them. Matra, who of course only competed in the final 3 races of the season, will come home with 26 points to their name. What a season it has been. The stream is dragging on an awful long time as there are a lot of standings to go through. The whole story of the season to talk about. But now, we've got a bit of a break. And for anybody who's still watching, you get to hear this little sort of unofficial announcement. We can confirm that the next season that the next season that SNL will run will be a return of the Endurance Championship. The multi-class racing comes back for season 2. Details to be announced soon. In the meantime, congratulations to Ajax on victory today. Congratulations to everybody who won throughout the season, who got a podium throughout the season, who felt that they outperformed themselves even once throughout the season. Congratulations to all of them. And of course, congratulations to our championship winner once again. That's 3 in a row for Bunnies. Who can stop him? He won Endurance last time out as well. Won all 5 races. Can anybody stop him this time in an Endurance? Next time Formula X comes around, can somebody stop him from getting 4 in a row? It's hard to say. We'll just have to wait and see. Thank you to everybody who watched, raced, commented, and just generally enjoyed this season. We will see you in a few weeks' time. It is an undetermined day for the beginning of the Endurance season, but it'll happen eventually. Soon enough, I can promise you that. Thank you to everybody who watched, and goodbye.